Right then, this is a quick walk around video for a fantastic looking CRZ. This is a GT model, but it's packed with options. First one you can see, obviously, the white paint, which is very sought after on these. It's also got the dynamic pack. It's got the Electra 17-inch alloys. It's got sat nav. It's got a Mugen rear spoiler, red Honda badge on the front. It's got a little diffuser on the top of the car as well. And it comes with the CRZ private plate as well. I mean, it really is an absolute one-off, this car. Going around the car for you, the car's covered 72,000 miles only as well. It comes with a lovely service history, but it is gorgeous. Front of the car, lovely and clean, no cracks or condensation in the lights. Bonnet, lovely and clean again. Can't see any obvious stone chips on there. Near side, I mean, what a glorious looking car. It really, really is. It's exceptional. This is one of these cars where, and I've done it before, I am torn, even as I'm doing the video, as to whether I buy this one myself. It is that special, and I've done it, and I'm very tempted on this one. Come down the offside of the car, again, wonderfully clean. I mean, it is, for the age of mileage, it is truly exceptional. It really is. It's not to say there isn't the odd light mark, of course there will be, but nothing that jumps out. Coming to the back of the car, you get a really good boot in these cars, even with the rear seats up. Forget the rear seats, in all honesty, because that's the legroom you get, which is basically nothing. Just consider it a two-seater car, but with a very, very big boot. It's coming in on the passenger side, again, lovely and clean. Leatherwork is absolutely sensational. The car is really, really clean. It's coming in the front on the passenger side, oh sorry, driver's side rather. Again, very, very clean and tidy. The footwell area is really nice. And the driver's seat, again, in really good condition. The only mark can get a little bit of wear just in the bolsters as you get in and out of the car there. So inside the car now, engine's running, is always the case. So you can see the dashboard illuminated, and it's again just in fantastic condition. Sat nav working perfectly. So we haven't actually cleaned this car yet. I mean, we just washed off the outside, but inside we haven't cleaned it. But it is so clean. I rarely do videos when it's like this. And that dash, I mean, wow. That's also, by the way, the dash you get when you're in Econ and normal mode. If I press the sport button, you get that red hue around the speedo there, but it looks absolutely sensational. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, it's a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CRZ, and it's the 1.5 GT hybrid, obviously, registered CRZ868. This is well, as you know from the walk around video, an extraordinary car in every way. The reason, by the way, we do these road test videos is very simple. It's to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, actually, they get to see the car advertised actually in operation. The reason we feel it's important is because, like so many people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs and descriptions, but only to get there and find out that there's an obvious fault that shows up when you drive the car. So hence that's why we do it. Also done on these quiet country roads in this absolutely beautiful part of Gloucestershire. And this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is obvious that it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, what a wonderful, wonderful machine. For two things, first of all, it's a lovely, crisp, early morning. Unfortunately, it might get a bit glary, so I do apologise, but I've got to kind of fit these in when I can. And secondly, I am massively biased when it comes towards CRZs. I love them, but that won't detract from the usual things I go through on the cars, so I'll do what I always do. Starting with the engine hybrid system, obviously push button start, whirs silently into life, settles to smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. It's a brilliant system. It is what's referred to these days as a self-charging hybrid system. Basically, what they're saying is you just drive it and own it like a perfectly normal petrol car. So you're just going to pop fuel in it when it gets low, and that's it. No charging up, no running out of battery, because it just charges itself as you hit the brakes each time. But the interaction of the hybrid system and the engine is imperceptible. It's seamless in the way it does it. You just wouldn't know. Basically, it's as simple as that. It's fantastic. It does give you 3 engine modes. You've got Econ, Normal and Sport. If you really want to try and get the absolute maximum in terms of economy, you run it in Econ quite clearly, which I did on my very first CRZ, and I tried and I got what the manufacturers said, but it makes for fairly dull propulsion in all honesty. It's fine around town, but that's about it. Normal is kind of an in-between those two modes, and it's what the car starts up in. But I strongly recommend, because for the tiny bit of extra fuel you use, the extra enjoyment by just pressing the sport button, that instant throttle response is so much keener to get up and go. It's definitely the mode to drive them in, but that's for someone else to decide, I guess. It's a wonderful system. The engine itself is your typical Honda 4-cylinder engine. It's such a keen engine to rev. You put your foot down, it's just a lovely, sort of guttural sound that these, through the induction that Honda 4-cylinders make. It's just a lovely companion. It really is. It's as happy it's as happy tootling around on light throttle as it is extending its revs. It's genius. Engine then feeds into clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car, perfect, light, smooth, positive, bike point exactly where it's meant to be. And then you have one of the best gearboxes you'll ever use, and the other two are Hondas. In terms of top 3, in my opinion, the S2000 I think is the best gearbox ever made, closely followed by the DC2 Integras, and then this. It's so short in throw. It's a gearbox that wants you to change gear. It's just the quality of actuation and engagement is second to none, and that feels exactly as it would have done when it was new, by the way. So that's all good. What gets even better is when you come to the steering and the chassis of the car, which again, I've always said in the adverts, and I mean it, I liken the CRZ in some ways to an old school kind of 90s hot hatch, the halcyon days of them, in my opinion. I think that they're best, because unlike modern hot hatches, which tend to be quite heavy and they're trying to do too many things, this is light on its feet. It loves to change direction, and it all starts with the steering, which is beautifully weighted, absolutely brilliantly weighted, which gives you confidence at all speeds, all corners. It's not overlight, it's not over keen. They've got it spot on, because it's not all about driving at 10/10 the whole time. Most of the time you're not, and it's perfect, absolutely perfect. It also tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at the speed, or any speed up to the legal limit actually. And then the chassis itself, because that section of road there, by the way, is horribly pitted. There's no rattles or clonks coming from underneath the vehicle. It rides incredibly well, because that's where it differs from a 90s hot hatch, which could be quite brittle riding things. This has a compliance to its chassis, a comfort, genuine comfort to it. So if you're not in the mood, you can relax in the car. But when you go through the corners, wow, I always say that some cars have a really good front end, especially front wheel drive ones, and this is one of them. It loves to change direction. It uses all 4 wheels of the car brilliantly, because it exploits them. So it's not just relying on the 2 front wheels, as again too many front wheel drive cars do. But it's just a joyful car to drive in every circumstance. It really is. I've loved them, absolutely loved them. I've been lucky enough to take a couple on tracks, and they are amazing things. The handling is astonishing. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, make sure no one's directly behind me. Really very, very good brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for in particular is any kind of pulsing or vibrations, and there's none at all. Absolutely spot on. So finally, to come inside, again, it is in lovely condition in here. It really, really is. And it's just in a world of cars which seem to sort of, they're designed to get you from A to B with absolutely no sort of soul. This is just a lovely place to sit. I mean, first of all, it is very comfortable, very well built as you'd expect of a Honda. Driving position, absolutely perfect. The relationship with your hips to your hands to your seated position, pedals, all that stuff is perfect. But Honda always do that well. The rest of it's just lovely. You've got this two-tone interior which works perfectly in the car. It kind of brightens it up, even with the blind pull across the sunroof there. The texturing of the plastics looks really nice in terms of the colourings and everything else. Obviously, as you know, this one's got the sat-nav, all working perfectly. But it really does feel like you're sat in the car. You're surrounded very close to all the buttons you want to press, so ergonomically it's genius. The little pods, symmetrical either side, are very reminiscent of the S2000 in the way they feel and how close. So you literally take your hand off, they're there. There's no kind of reaching to get to all these primary controls. But it's the detailing, the labelling of the graphics, all the stuff that is a pleasure to look at and to operate. It's a car that, it's such a cliche, but it really does put a smile on your face when you look at it, when you drive it, when you sit in it, when you operate it. It's very hard to kind of put your finger on exactly why it makes you feel like that, but it genuinely does. As I said, most cars are pretty soulless, but this one has got absolute character to it. I can't fault the way it drives at all, by the way. I've owned loads of these cars. It drives as tight as a drum.